Hey guys, welcome to Nate and Greg's World. Today we are going to be talking about conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists. It's going to be a very interesting show today. We've got the crew from, or part of the crew from Evil Von Scary. We got Jay and Kelly here today, and they're going to be our resident experts on conspiracy theories. Make sure that you go and subscribe and hit that bell icon down below and check us out on our other platforms. And if you ain't got time to sit here and watch the whole show, make sure you check us out on Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Podcast. Jay, Kelly, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We've been really excited for this episode here because we
brought you up in our show without you even being here yet.
Yeah. we come up and we're like, hey, fuck, here's a conspiracy. Oh, we got to talk to Evil Von Scary. We got to talk about this shit there.
I
can get them to look in on this. But yeah, we want to find out, what it's all about. Conspiracy theories, the life of a conspiracy theorist, if you will. Try to shed a little bit of light on it because, we had a quick discussion beforehand where we sat down, we talked about a bunch of things and found out that not all conspiracy theorists, are the type of, the tinfoil hat wearing types, and stuff like this. It's a lot more in depth than that,
for sure.
And as you're saying, it goes along with a lot of what we talk about here on the podcast there of, it's a lot of it has to do with perspective and looking at things from different angles, so while not everything is a conspiracy, there are the conspiracies out there.
Absolutely, there are.
So first off, let's get to know you guys a little bit first. Jay, we'll start with you. Tell us a bit about yourself. Like, what's your background?
Background pretty diverse. One of those, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Probably, I guess, veteran, if you want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Railroader, union activist.
Okay.
And then kind of got me into the conspiracy world was, I think it was about 10 when Anwar Sadat got shot, the president of Egypt. And I just recall my mom being really upset, saying, oh, it's just like the Kennedys, and the first thing I'm like, well, who's the Kennedys? Yeah, I'm thinking the neighbors got shot or something, right? And then I went to the library, looked into it, got a book on them, and then got kind of hooked from there. And like a lot of people, you look into Bigfoot and all that other kind of crazy stuff, and then, you wind up whittling it down to, oh, wait, there actually is something behind this. This other stuff's is BS. So that's...
Right.
I started off Evil Von Scary just as an online nomiker.
Yeah.
It would have been 2000... I'm going to say around 2001, 2, around there.
Yeah.
Started off with Google chat rooms. That kind of thing, or actually it was Yahoo Chat, if I remember back then.
Holy shit, that is a ways back.
Yeah, I know, I'm dating myself.
There's conspiracy theory in itself right there.
Yeah, exactly. And then mostly it was just people talking about conspiracies.
Right.
And then, so I just kind of kept the Evil Von Scary thing, and then Kelly kind of encouraged me there to say, well, hey, you're just like you guys, we're talking about this crap all the time, so let's maybe put down the beers and... take a serious look at it.
Right.
And so that's where Kelly helped me out with the website and everything. And
put down the beards and light up the weed.
Yeah, well, whatever
to really help. To really help.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's kind of went from there, got the website going, and then, went from like 10 people a day, and I was like thinking that, okay, that's a great goal. Wow, 10 people actually wanted to hear what I had to say, right? And then, it goes to 100 to 1,000 and more, right?
Wow.
So, and I'm just shocked that we're still even doing it now. But
nice.
Here we are.
Now you have a whole team, and Kelly, you're part of the team.
Yeah, I'm mostly doing the web stuff.
Okay.
He posts everything. An ideal when I get the calls the website's down or something like that.
The technical guy.
Yeah, I jump in there and get them going again.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, plus he's also a sounding board. So if I go off too far afield, Kelly, kind of brings it back to earth. So I don't know about that. He's more the skeptic.
Well, and you have a whole team that does that.
Yeah, we do. We got Ange Finley. She's also one of our. I guess you would call her like an editor and contributor, and she comes more from. Sort of the left field of things, like more politically speaking, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? And then so she kind of keeps us grounded that way. So between Kelly and her and a few other people, we kind of more toward the center and non-politically aligned. We don't try to push any agenda or anything like that. I just
Right.
try to say, okay, well, here's what we can find, and then everybody collates all the information, and I more or less act as the editor and assess everything, put it together in an article, and put it out.
Right.
Right on.
So Kelly, what's your background? Learn a bit of. I'm going to try to say this again in English. Let's hear a little bit about you. Like, what's your background?
My background is mostly self-employed.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I was a member of the reserves, Jay.
Okay.
Playing Army. And, yeah, that type of thing. Yeah, and I mostly got in conspiracy. Actually started when I was a teenager watching this documentary on JFK.
Right.
And, they're showing the Zapruder film, and then they shoot out, he gets shot. I'm like, oh, he got shot from the front. And they're like, oh, he got shot from, elevated from the rear. And I'm like, no, I've shot watermelons when I go to the range.
Yeah.
As a cadets, but and it's like, wait a minute, no, every watermelon I've hit doesn't act like that from, when you shoot them from the front, they work in a certain way, small entrance hole, big exit, and so that's kind of like the first kind of like, something's not right here, I'm being lied to.
Well,
Right.
Kelly's kind of downplaying himself a bit. He's been a master marksman for like over 20 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like we used to both compete against each other there all the time for, top shot. Right.
Yeah.
And then and you get together with other master marksmen, and in one case, the one sergeant, I don't want to throw his name out there, but he's Queen's Medal winner, sniper, etc. And we'd always argue about that every time we had like a range week or a weekend or a competition. Everybody's always arguing about. It always comes back to Kennedy.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And the only thing everybody agrees on though, is it was a front shot.
Yeah.
That's something like all the pros agree on, but. Was it the grassy knoll? Was it the overpass? Was it some guy hiding in the sewer? That's
right.
The disparity comes.
Or was it lizard people coming in on a UFO or something?
That's some of our brothers that maybe they're taking medication or something, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the JFK thing's what got you into the whole conspiracy thing, and then basically the two of you hooked up and started working on this and putting things out.
Talking about it more and more, and
yeah. Nice. Well, that's fantastic. Because I've always been that kind of guy that's always asked those extra questions. I've just never really had the time to go and do any deep dives on anything to figure stuff out. And, there are so many different conspiracies out there on different things. Like, we'll use JFK as an example. You just open up YouTube and oh my God, the different conspiracies going on.
You can literally spend a week.
Yeah.
Every day.
And
going through.
And some of them, they're like, okay, well, we can kind of group these ones together because they all seem to be talking relatively about the same thing, just a couple different facts here. And then you got the ones that are way over on the other side, and you're like, okay, where are you coming from with this?
Yeah.
But, I had a lot of time while I was overseas to sit down and watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I think for about 2 weeks straight, I kind of got stuck on watching all these different conspiracy videos on a bunch of different things, and I can understand how some people can go and get to the whole tinfoil hat type of conspiracy theory stuff, because some people are pretty good at connecting different dots out there, and then you just got that thing that sparks the brain
in the
going.
Conspiracy world, people call that going down the rabbit hole, like the reference to Alice in Wonderland and everything, right?
Oh yeah,
for sure. But there's so many things out there that you look at and you watch, like you say, they talked about JFK getting shot a certain way, and you're like, no. Like, how many news stories do you hear, and you're like, just to be like, you just not even a conspiracy person, just a normal person being like, doesn't make any fucking sense.
Because it's bullshit.
It's bullshit. Yeah. For sure.
And as you said before, many times, you look at the liberal media, and you look at more of the right wing media, and they're talking about the same thing, but on two different planes completely.
Well, we get back to what we were talking about before, the perspective filter, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking at it from their worldview.
Yeah.
And it's gonna, the facts are still the facts, but it's still gonna change the optics slightly as how they look at it or who did it or that kind of thing. Right.
Right. So when you pick up a conspiracy theory, where do you start? So you're watching the news and a story comes out. I don't know, do you want to use an example of a story that's come out that you can break down for us and tell us how you
Well,
Like,
I know on your site right now, you've got a lot of shit on Epstein.
Well, that's the one I was going to say, yeah.
While the story does seem to be getting a little bit older, long in the tooth right now, like that's still...
I don't know if it's getting older. I see a lot of shit still coming out about Epstein and news stories.
I think there's a whole lot of cover-ups going on right now to divert us away from it.
What you're referring to is what they call the news cycle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's usually a 72 hours, like a 3-day cycle, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's the big sensation. It's eating up the majority of the 1 hour telecast or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day it's half hour, the next day it's 15 minutes, and then a week later, back to the Kardashians. Like, nobody cares.
But I look at the Epstein thing right now, like now they're talking a lot about Prince Andrew.
Yep.
And there's another guy that was recently let go from his job, or he left because he was brought up in the whole... He was hanging out with Epstein. So it's still there. Like, they're still going after these people and trying to figure out how to connect those dots, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, now it's down to the deep, like as you call it, the deep dive or the digging and looking at the business connections he had, where the money's going. So it is still in the news cycle, but it's not in your news at 11.
Yeah.
Right.
So much anymore. Well, actually, almost barely at all.
Right.
Right, because now it's you actually have to read, and nobody's going to give you a 5-second soundbite on the situation.
No.
If you're looking for the conspiracy, well, initially they said, "Oh yeah, he hung himself" or whatever, and then that's why now you got all these memes like, well, how did he hang himself? The guy was under 24-hour observation, like, and then they say, "Oh well, the guards were sleeping." Like, if I was the lawyers for those guards, I'd be like, "Oh, well, just show us the video." "Oh, that you mean the camera that broke?"
Yeah. Right at the right time.
I'd be using that for my defense if I was one of those guards.
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, we watched them every 5 minutes. Here, look at the tapes." "Oh, the tapes are gone."
Yeah.
And then as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, my conspiracy flag's starting to go up a bit. It's not quite all the way there. And then they're like, and I'm like, okay, well, what about the camera that's watching the hallway? That must be work. "Oh, that one was out of service as well."
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, give me a goddamn break. Like, that's no way. And then that's where the conspiracy part kicks in, where I start deep diving, going, okay, well, I want to find out what union they are.
Yeah.
And then I noticed 2 days before, because first he was in jail, and I just said, okay, I remember hearing about this guy years ago.
Yeah.
And then remember the first thing I said on the Evil Von Scary page there, I'm like, this guy's going to die.
Yeah.
He will not make it to trial. I just knew right off the bat.
Oh,
I'm like,
people that he had?
Guy, yeah, exactly. Well, Prince Andrew,
Clinton.
the Clinton, Bill Clinton. Yeah, he was on his flight like 26 times apparently.
You don't want to fuck with Hillary.
No, you don't. Yeah, bad things happen when you.
And just so we're all very, very clear, yet again, I will reiterate this: I have no plans for suicide whatsoever. I'm happy with my life. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Same wise. Yeah. But so I knew he was going to die right off the bat.
Yeah.
And that's not a big secret. There's quite a few people that not necessarily conspiracy heads, all kind of figured the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was a few days before that. So as soon as he went into jail, I was like, okay, they're gonna off this guy.
Yeah.
And then I started noticing reports saying, oh, the prison conditions there are really bad, and then you got a letter from the union saying, like where they put in a complaint. I'm like, well, why is all this stuff coming? Like it's almost like they were setting him up.
Yes.
They're setting up the narrative to say, oh yeah, it was bad conditions, blah blah blah, and then you start noticing all these things about suicide and coming out quite a bit, and it's like, oh well, they're priming the pump is what they were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where the conspiracy part comes in. Where I'm like, well, why are they telling us all this extraneous crap when really it should have been, billionaire guy who's a pervert and he ran a sex thing and we busted him.
Yeah.
But no, they had to prime the pump with, friggin' this, that, the other thing, and then when you get all those facts, you're like, okay, that's now the conspiracy flag's full up.
Yeah.
I'm going to start digging into this guy's business connections and finding out what he's all about.
So is that what it is for you to basically get started on a story? When, as you said, like it could be a simple thing like this guy went to jail. Yep. Okay, fantastic. But then, as you said, when they start overloading you with information right away, that's kind of what gets your hackles up and says,
because then it seems like it's an agenda. Like the difference between news and an agenda.
Yeah.
News is just like, okay, who, what, when, where, why, W5, and then how.
Yeah.
Well, they were given a heck of a lot more than that in a coffee table book to go along with it.
Yeah.
So as soon as they start adding all this extra crap, that's usually when I get suspicious, going, okay, well, this isn't just a news story. This is becoming an agenda now.
Yeah. Right.
So did you find that that's like your main source for when, you decide on a conspiracy theory or that it's something you want to dive into, or is there also the ones where you just happen to go and read an article and you're like, okay, I just know that's bullshit because fucking just the way it's worded here.
I'd say a mixed bag of both. I think you got kind of both of them there. Like, just like everybody else, I watch the regular news.
Yeah.
And then even though I know the majority of it's crap or they're trying to push something, but you still need to watch it to know what's going on. Like, you can't just go, oh, I don't watch TV anymore. Well, then you don't know what the public zeitgeist is or what they're trying to get the public into.
Yeah.
Right.
So really, you do need to watch what the normies are watching, because otherwise you don't understand what's being said to them.
Right.
You don't want to put yourself in a bubble. You gotta, like I that's why like I said before, I go from stuff from the right wing, I go from stuff from the left wing, the centrist, whatever. I don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, because everybody's got something to add to the story.
Right.
Right. So you just have to realize what their perspective is, and take it from okay, that's their perspective, but that doesn't mean they're lying.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean there's not some facts there. So you just have to disseminate that, like
right.
You take the raw intelligence data, and then you have to become an analyst as well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of a lot of what we do with our stuff there, but we're not so much in the conspiracy side. We're more of the, well, let's just look at things from different perspectives. Yeah. Like we just talked the other day about American Airlines being sued for xenophobia or racism or some crap like that. It was American Airlines and Delta, right? And they were saying that they were doing this because of this. Well, hold on a second. Nobody's getting that other part of the story. It's not making sense. There seems to be one side of the story that we're hearing. What's the other side of the story?
And that's just it, because they're trying to lead you down the garden path to a predestined conclusion.
Yeah.
So is there a conspiracy place to go? Like, I mean, because you talk about listening to the stuff the normies listen to, everybody, right?
Yeah.
Is there a place that you would go to get a different...
Like, wait, where does this conspiracy guy go to talk to conspiracy guys?
Yeah, because you listen... Well, no, but you listen to the news.
Absolutely.
But all the news stations are basically going to be saying the same thing. Maybe a little bit of a lift one way or the other. Yeah. But when you look at Epstein, right, everybody's like, oh, he committed suicide, blah, 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 blah. Like, do you have, like, a place on, like, in the dark web or... where you put ideas together and you say... I
admit nothing, I plead the fifth. No,
conspiracyhunters.com.
Yeah. There's a couple of people, like a conspiracy... Like, everybody knows about Alex Jones.
Yeah.
And in his... he's like the Roddy Piper of the conspiracy world, right? Like, it's all a big freak out every time.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's a big act myself. I don't think he's actually like that, but who knows? Maybe he is.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know him personally. A lot of people send articles to me, paperwork, that kind of thing. And then there's like WikiLeaks. I'll look at their stuff quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's Wiki Spooks, which kind of is like WikiLeaks, except they actually break down the who's who.
Okay.
And they give you a lot of the information on people that they're generally not telling you in the mainstream news.
Right.
Other things, like a lot of stuff I get is from fans of the show.
Yeah.
They contribute stuff or say, hey, did you look into this? Or, because you might get a news article from Australia, for instance.
Yeah.
Completely different from what we're being told in Canadian media.
Yeah, exactly.
You might get some stuff from Americans, and it's usually pretty close to Canadian, but or somebody might send me something from Iceland.
Right.
Yeah.
From their newspaper, like translated, obviously, because I don't speak, ancient Norse or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at it and you're like, wow, like this is very different perspectives.
Yeah. So basically, you're just drawing in information from everywhere and then trying to disseminate.
Yeah. Try to get all the raw data.
Yeah.
And then figure it all out.
Right.
And do you feel that you have something solid before you put anything out? Like,
I try to. No.
Like, do you say, like, or like in your own mind, I mean, like, are you like, okay, this is what I really actually believe it to be true before you put it out?
I try to let the facts speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I know that's like an old union term, right? Like, like let the facts speak for themselves, and you walk away from the company.
That's right.
But I try to I try to take that perspective, though.
Yeah.
Right. I just try to put the facts, and I try not to lead people to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say, here's my opinion.
Yeah.
And then I try to do the caveat, like, and a lot of the decent conspiracy people always say, well, look into it for yourself.
Yeah. Here's the dots I've connected. Here's my opinion on it.
Exactly.
Maybe you see a different dot lining up somewhere else, which totally blows this whole theory out of the water.
Yeah, well, and that's why I'm glad for like Kelly and Ange and Marilyn and Chris and a whole bunch of other people and the other fans there that send me all this information.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll be like, oh, well, you're kind of going on the right wing thing of things, did you look at this? And I'd be like, if I didn't, I'd be like, well, no. But if I did and I think it's bullshit, I'll tell them. I think that's BS.
So Kelly, how often do you look at him and be like, you're fucking crazy, dude? Like, what are you talking about?
1 out of 3 times at least.
Yeah, but for the most part, he's pretty thorough. He comes up with all these, how do I put it? He presents it pretty good, and he presents whatever he has researched pretty good. And I challenge him, go, what about this and what about that? And he starts going down some rabbit hole of, like with Epstein, the whole
he becomes my reality snorkel.
Yeah. So it's like I try and get stuff by him, it just doesn't work, and I also try and throw in a different perspective. He's already got it covered. So
right.
Yeah. He pretty much a lot of stuff he runs by me, and I try and throw it back at him. Sometimes I get lucky and I feel proud of myself, but for most of the time,
give yourself a pat.
Yeah, but most of the time he's pretty thorough, and he's gone down the rabbit hole.
Now, one of the things that we've noticed through, excuse me, the way culture is, as soon as you bring up conspiracy or conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, people are like, oh my God, it's the guys with the tinfoil hats. They're all fucking batshit crazy. They're nuts and stuff like this.
Only a third of them are, but I'm not sure where I sit on that.
But that's the thing, there are conspiracies that have ultimately been proven. It's taken time and stuff like this. It's like, no, this conspiracy theory is not a conspiracy theory anymore. This is a fact. This is what happened, and I really don't think conspiracy theorists are full-blown nuts. Like, there's some that are out there, and some of the conspiracies and shit like this, it's like, let's think about this. Like, that's not even a possibility. But really, all conspiracy theorists are people that are willing to do the fucking research to find out.
To read past the front page article. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Which is unfortunate. I really believe that everybody should be a conspiracy theorist, and look at whatever they're reading, whatever they're watching on TV, and ask, really?
Well, I had a teacher in high school. I remember she told me, she said, all the good news is in the opinion section. Going back to the 80s before we had the real internet as we know it now.
Yeah.
But I remember she told me, she goes, you want to know what's really going on, read the opinion section or the editorials.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she said the rest is fluff.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and it's interesting. Like, I'm sure there's got to be a few conspiracies out there that you're just like, really, like, what are some of your favorite... I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this.
Like the junk food of conspiracy?
Yeah. The ones that are
my guilty pleasure?
Yeah,
I'd say stuff like anything to do with alien abductions and Bigfoot, and I don't really write about that, but that's my favorites to read. Cause
you look into all that stuff?
Oh, because I get a kick out of it. It doesn't matter if I think it's bullshit, I'll still read it.
Yeah.
And I'll try to do the objective and Occam's razor and everything.
So what do you think about all these the videos coming back of UFOs? From the Air Force and stuff.
Jesus, there's a $60,000 question right there. For a lot of years, I would, like, as soon as somebody said UFO, like, I was automatically skeptical. Like, I was automatic, bullshit.
Of course.
It's crap. Only because in the UFO conspiracy thing, like, there's a lot of, obviously, categories and whatever have you, but in the UFO thing, I've found over the years that about 99% of it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's another guy that is like the people from MUFON and things like that are actually legit researchers into it. Like they got like crazy, like, $1 million cameras, and they're really hardcore into it.
Yeah.
Even if 99% of it's bullshit, that means there's 1% of it that's legit.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you look at the sheer volume, like since, like, say, World War II or even before, of UFO reportings and things like that. So even if you add all that, if only 1% of it's true, that's still scary crap. Like.
Yeah. Well, that's all you need to prove it.
Exactly.
That 1%.
But lately, the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, I think it was, they released some videos, and it was actually on CNN.
Yeah.
Right? So I was pretty surprised with that, like on mainstream news, and it was camera footage, and I think it was from like 4 or 5 years ago, and it actually they had some it was a UFO, unidentified flying object. They didn't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. As soon as somebody says UFO, they think space aliens.
Well,
but really, what a UFO is something that's unidentified that happens to be flying.
But with this thing though,
technology was using.
They said it looked like a Tic Tac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember I was listening to a radio interview with I think there was the flight commander. Mm-hmm. And one of his pilots, she was testifying to Congress or something about it, and they're like, "Oh, describe it." And she goes, "What part of Tic Tac didn't you fucking understand?" It looked like a Tic Tac. There's no other, way to describe it. And then you watch the video, you're like, "Yeah, actually, it does look like a goddamn Tic Tac." So they released it.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised with that. So I'm not sure if it was the Air Force or the Navy. It was one of the anyway. It was the flag people, the flag boys. There.
People flying planes.
People flying planes. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like I'm a grunt. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't pretend to understand Air Force things.
Yeah.
But to me, that was very compelling.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, here's an official Pentagon release. Like they're not, they didn't try to prime the pump. They didn't try to give you a bunch of crap. They just said, here's this video. We don't understand what the hell's going on, but here it is.
Yeah,
right.
So I was like, oh, okay. So to me, like when I see something like that, that was very compelling. And then a couple of years before that, the Chilean Air Force, or I think it was Search and Rescue, whatever.
Yeah,
they released a similar video that one of their search and rescue helicopters had taken.
Yeah.
And it looked really similar.
Right.
And
why would they release that if, places like that, the Air Force and the Chilean, the rescue, if they know it's bullshit? Because they know people are going to look at them like,
oh, yeah, exactly.
You're fucking nuts and you're flying these...
Yeah, but when you see the video, it's got all the timestamps and, I've talked to a couple Air Force people and they're like, yeah, that looks legit,
Yeah. Okay.
So when I see things like that, it's like, okay, well, I can't... Because normally with UFO stuff, I just call bullshit right off the bat.
Right.
Because, like I said, 99% of it is. But on these ones, I can't call bullshit on it. It's legit. There's witnesses. There's statements.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so here's a bit of a question for you. We found out, what kind of gets you fired up to check something out. Mm-hmm. Is there a point where you're finally like, nope, I've had enough. I'm not looking at this anymore because this is bullshit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Where does that line come?
As soon as I hear reptilians. Right?
Yeah.
Not to disparage anybody looking at that, because there are some researchers that thoroughly believe that, and I think they're doing great work.
Yeah.
Whether I believe them, that part of what they're saying or not, well, I don't. But they do have a lot of other good facts and things where I check it out and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right on this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
But as soon as you went to that, shape-shifting reptilians and the Kardashians are reptiles, oh, give me a goddamn break.
The Kardashians are reptiles?
Well, I don't think so. I think they're just annoying, if anything. I don't know why they got the airtime they got, right?
No.
But there's people that think, anybody famous. It's like, remember when we were kids there, when you might remember Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what his middle name was, but it had 6 letters. Well, Ronald, whatever 6 letters, and then Reagan is all 666. And I remember people back then, like some of the, our Christian brothers and sisters that are, kind of conspiracy minded, like, oh, 666, he's the
number
devil.
of the beast.
Yeah, exactly. And then people said the same thing about Bush 1 and Bush 2 and, and Obama and whatever, right? I'm just like, oh, God, when's it stop?
Yeah.
That's where I kind of go, okay, I draw the line, and I'm like, pfft.
Yeah. And now do you just end up dropping it completely, or do you what? I'm going to look at it.
Unless there were some other facts or some other things that I could take out of it, to go, well, you know what, maybe this might bear some more looking into.
Yeah.
I'll look into those other things.
Yeah.
But with the whole angle of so-and-so's Damien or whatever, forget it. I'll drop that part of it right off the bat because it's ridiculous.
Right. Okay, so what's one of the most ridiculous conspiracy theories that you've ever heard? Obviously, there's the reptilian things that that seems pretty ridiculous. But
I'll be getting tons of flack, I'm sure, from lots of people going, oh, you're part of the conspiracy now. You're a shill for the lizard people. Like, okay, give me a break. Okay,
so you're protecting them.
I'm still paying my mortgage and car payments. I'm hardly a freaking shill. Okay, I got to go to work every day.
Yeah. So what's probably the most ridiculous one that you've ever heard, and you're like, I'm not even going to bother starting to look into this?
That one.
That one there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you more into government conspiracy than you would be into UFO?
Yeah, well, things. Absolutely. Yeah, like things I can prove, right? Where I could get a paperwork or a document like real life conspiracies, right? And that's the problem is, like you said before, people hear the word conspiracy. Most people right off the bat, they turn off their mind, right? Like, forget it. It's BS, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, real life conspiracies happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's things like, the CEO of some corporation, knowing, we'll take the Ford Pinto, for instance.
Yeah.
They actually did a cost-benefit analysis to figure out what the $7 part is that would stop them from exploding, and they went, oh, well, maybe 400 people will die.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost us, with the payout from the families and things.
Right.
They figured it was cheaper to pay out the families that might get killed from that faulty product than it would be to fix the car.
Right.
That's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right? Like, conspiracies don't have to be Bigfoot and aliens all the time. Like, there's real-life conspiracies happening all the time. Or say, your local government.
Yeah.
Where they conspire to keep it out of the press or not tell anybody about doing a certain thing or having a certain agenda.
Yeah.
That's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Or every time you hear, oh, it's a closed-doors meeting. Well, in my experience, every time there's a closed-door meeting, somebody's getting fucked.
Yes.
That's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why else have it?
Well, yeah. Why are you doing it behind closed doors? Well, because somebody's going to get upset.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well, and that's it. I mean, I think everything, like, I agree, like, you look at all the stories that come out, like, to me, conspiracy is just giving things a second thought and looking at more of the evidence
Absolutely.
and looking at more of the facts that go into it as opposed to what the news lets go. Because one of the biggest conspiracies is our news.
Yeah.
Right? What they say, what they don't say, what they're told to tell you, that's always we always talk about that on our show, like when, the news reports something and you're like, we're not getting the whole fucking story here. Like, you can tell it's been thought about very heavily. Okay, what information are we going to give? What are we not going to give? Like, you look at what's going on in the Middle East. Like, if you talk to somebody from the Middle East, they'll tell you the news is full of shit.
Yeah. Well, because they're on the ground. They're seeing
They're seeing it firsthand, but the news is telling us just what the government or whatever wants to hear. Like, do you think the news... Are you on that side of conspiracy where you think our news is completely just what the government wants us to know?
No, actually, no, I don't. I think the government does have some influence. Absolutely they do. But it's more than that. Like, because a lot of people just go, "Oh, the government's reading your mind." It's like, no, okay. There's a lot more nuance to it than just that.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're saying, like for the news, for instance, like I know in the U.S. there's only like 6 people that own all the freaking news companies.
Right.
Like 6 guys.
Yeah.
Or corporations, whatever. But that means there's somebody, like, say, Rupert Murdoch or whoever, for instance, that they have their advertisers and they have their friends and stuff. And then if there's a story that's going to come out that's going to upset one of his advertisers, well, he's not going to air that story. He's going to do what he can to kill it.
Yeah.
And then when you're talking about the government end of it, there's an operation back in the 60s and probably right from the 50s to the 70s before it got exposed, called Operation Mockingbird. And that's where, like, the CIA, and this is not a theory, like, I could give you the paperwork on it.
Yeah.
It's a fact. That they actually had people, either direct agents, and also people on taking, like, hey, George, here's 10 grand a year. We'll pad your account on a Cayman Islands account, but if we give you the call to kill a story, you kill that story.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where what you're talking about with government conspiracy, I guess, manipulating the media. Now, the Central Intelligence Agency will tell you that, oh yeah, we killed that program. Well, there's no evidence that they actually killed the program.
No.
I can get evidence of showing you who was on the payroll for a certain thing at a certain period of time in 1969 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And show you their 401k or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can't show you anything that actually terminates the program or where any order was given to terminate that program.
Nothing was ever signed off on to say done.
No. So it's still ongoing.
Right.
Right.
It still happens.
Yeah.
Well, and, I think a lot of conspiracies as well, for general public people that don't actually do any deep dives, it's more of, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
So then they got to make up a story.
Yeah.
Like, for myself, Area 51, right? it's been around forever. They're all like, oh no, it's aliens, they're studying aliens.
Grim Lake.
Yeah, all this shit, right?
S4 is the real deal there. Grim Lake's the smoke screen.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
But my personal thought with, having been in the military and stuff like this, and,
every day was a conspiracy force in the military.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you got Area 51, and they're like, look, we're testing shit there that we don't want the public to see.
Yep.
Oh, no, you're hiding shit. Yes, we're hiding shit that we're experimenting on.
Yeah, because we don't want our enemies to know about it or
exactly,
whatever. That's legit.
And that makes perfect sense. The fact that little green aliens and shit like this,
See, part of me wonders if the Air Force or Central Intelligence or whoever, whatever alphabet soup group you want.
Yeah.
I always wondered if they didn't just print that crap out there just to make a smoke screen.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, there was UFO sightings out of northern England for years.
Yeah.
Right, and it turned out once they top secret the stealth fighters and bombers.
Yeah.
Well, they were flying out of the north of England into Russia.
Yeah.
So all these UFO sightings were turned out. Wait a minute, they were stealth fighters going out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's there's nothing on radar, but you can physically see it. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, congratulations! You just found our stealth fighters.
And
it looked like a spaceship at the time, especially. It would have looked like that. Yeah. And we're used to them now.
It was going on for at least 10 years, right? So the question is, what do they have now? Which obviously they're being quiet on.
Exactly.
Right? Yep. And in a lot of ways,
Aurora is the new thing.
The
what?
The
Aurora.
Aurora. Yeah. The military technologies, they're both behind, and they're also ahead 10 years. Right?
Oh yeah. Well, myself, having been a military contractor, right? There was stuff that I was seeing being built, and stuff like this, where I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? We have this technology. How hasn't this been publicized? Oh, right, because we want to keep a fucking secret so the bad guys don't learn.
Exactly.
So I get that, and as well as, you have the idea. The idea might take 5 years to fully develop before you can actually go and start testing that idea, right? And so it takes a long fucking time.
Yeah, for product development and testing.
Exactly. And then so by the time things actually come out, everybody's seen the UFOs. They've seen this strange shit. They've seen this. They've seen that. And it's, oh my God, it's a big conspiracy. No, we just don't want you guys to fucking know because we don't need the bad guys to fucking know.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
Yep.
But you were talking, to go back, you were talking about this lake and that's the screen. Can you, I'm dumb when it comes to this shit. So
I've been led to believe that there's an area called S4. Sierra 4 has the FOWER, if you're doing the radio thing there. But anyway, apparently that's where the magic's happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's an off-site place.
Off-site to the southwest, I believe, we'll say about 12 miles or maybe 24 miles, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where
go to Google Maps, you'll probably see a big blob of nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it's like back when the internet was starting to get popular, it was about the mid-90s. I remember there's a place called Minot, North Dakota. It's an Air Force base. And I always got a laugh of on the Weather Channel every time you seen that base.
Yeah.
It's a big circle of clouds over top of it.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Yeah.
Sunny and 24 and blue skies, but there's a big circle of clouds over top.
Well, that's because of the weather machine that's there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just like out in Wainwright and every other military base.
Yeah. Where they're like, oh, is there infantry guys running around here? Let's turn on the rain and hail.
Yeah.
I was confident there was a weather machine on my recce course. We're in Meaford, and the road to Meaford, right? We're right near the edge of Meaford. Sunshine and rainbows on that road. That's just, the border road. Inside, rain and hail.
Yeah.
That's like, well, the
guess where we're going.
Yeah. The weather tech is has a game.
I was out in Wainwright there, getting ready to go off to Afghanistan, and I showed up to the range the one day because I was a weapons tech. I was there to make sure that the guns still went bang. And I went and I was outside of my truck. It was a nice, hot, beautiful, sunny day. I took off my outer shirt there. I was just in my T-shirt. I'm out reading a book. I know some people are surprised I actually read, but I was reading that day. And I'm sitting there, And not a word of a lie, 15 minutes later, I'm putting on my jacket, my toque, my gloves, because it started to fucking snow. And I'm like, yeah, there's a fucking weather machine here.
Yeah,
you know?
that's because the Matt Tech seen you there, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm not going to let him do that." You know?
He's not going to have a good time today.
Well, and then you want to talk conspiracy, though. There is a 19. I'm paraphrasing here, though. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
anybody out there, your listeners, forgive me if I don't got the exact date.
Yeah.
I'm giving you approximate, but I believe it was 1976 UN Convention on Weather Warfare.
Yes.
And then that's so if you look into those chemtrails and stuff like that, like I don't know, the jury's still out for me on that. Okay,
Right.
like, I don't think it's all of that. Like, not to say there isn't weather modification.
Yeah.
It's been proven there is, and there's 1976, I believe, UN Convention on Weather Warfare that everybody signed to say that we're not going to use weather warfare. That was 76.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's over 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Why would they have that? They don't just pull this out of their ass and,
No.
okay, yeah, we're going to do this just because we read a science fiction novel.
Right.
It
And
means
it might happen.
Yeah, so that means there was an actual capability at that time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. If you're saying don't do this, it's because somebody already
Because somebody
did it.
already did it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a rudimentary starting. You know,
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
we better
You know,
stop this before.
It's like all the warning labels on, like stuff like the curling iron. Do not stick this up any bodily orifice.
Yeah,
Wait, why'd you have to put that on?
Somebody
Who
did
did
it.
this?
yeah, because some weirdo
Yeah.
did it already.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I personally find conspiracy theories a lot of fun to look at and stuff like this, and I try to take a lot of them at face value. But as I said, like there I was for 2 weeks straight just watching conspiracy theory videos and stuff like this. And I'm just sitting there going, "Oh my god!" Like I'm pretty sure there's a lot of tinfoil hats being made just for me, because I'd be going into work the next day going, guys, did you know that this fucking... No, stop. Go away. Turn off the computer,
Well, and that's the whole thing there too. I remember you were talking before about
Yeah.
you're writing something up and then waiting till the next day before you submit it.
Yeah.
You got to do that in conspiracy world
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
there's times where like I've read stuff like, oh my god, the world has to know,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll put it away.
Yeah.
Look at it, instead of 4:00 in the morning when I'm all jacked up on my like 5th coffee.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, I'll get some sleep, and then then I'll look at it again, and I'm like, oh, well, no, that doesn't, that doesn't pan out quite the way I thought it did, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about the rabbit hole you go down, like, do you
Yeah.
find now that you look into this shit so heavily that you,
On some topics, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you just,
Yeah, like for instance, like say the Panama Papers, like you probably heard about that in the news, where different corporations were like putting all their money offshore and trying to hide the money from the tax collector, things like that.
Yeah. What I'm going to do if I ever find money. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, like a lot of people would. I understand why.
Yeah.
Morally wrong.
Yeah.
Business wise, I understand why they do it, but that was pretty clear cut. So that I didn't really have to do a big deep dive on, because I just went to WikiLeaks. Oh, there's the documents. Okay. And there's the names, there's the people, there's the bank accounts.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty straight up, right?
Yeah.
I got names, numbers, times, who did it. That's
Yeah.
not really a deep dive, but say like when you go back to JFK,
Yeah.
that is the ultimate deep dive.
Right.
Right? Because you're looking into Oswald, and you're looking into Oswald's connections, and then his military records, and then you're looking at people that were associated with Oswald.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at, well, who was there, and then you find out like it was almost like a rock concert of a who's who in the conspiracy world at Dallas.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're like, what the hell was that guy doing there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why did they take the bubble top off the car? Why did they pull his regular security?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
and then that's where you start deep diving, because you're like, okay, there's Joe, there's Bob, there's Phil, and I'm going to look into Phil's background now and what groups he was in, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I never heard of that group, and then you start looking into that group, and then and then it spider webs out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's more like a true deep dive, whereas
Yeah.
like the Panama Papers kind of thing, it was much of a deep dive, like it's
Yeah.
all the things were there, right?
Yeah.
But how do you feel that affects your day-to-day functioning?
I don't know.
Do you walk around paranoid and shit? And
Well, you know what? You can.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I
Right,
mean.
'cause
Like, you get in those rabbit holes, and
Yeah.
all of a
Oh
sudden
yeah,
everything
I've had
is-
people like they think, well, what do you think's the cause behind this? Like,
Yeah.
situation XYZ. And I just said, well, how paranoid do you want to get?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because like if you want to get right paranoid, well, we'll go right back to the lizard people and everything, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you want to get into that crap, right?
Yeah.
But I find like there are times where I dive down the rabbit hole, but again, though, I sleep on it, right? Because
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the morning, with caffeine jitters is different than 10 o'clock the next day, Daisy Fresh kind of thing, where you're kind of, okay,
Yeah.
Well, and like as you said, like how paranoid do you want to be? It's that whole, like scene from The Matrix. There, do you want the red pill or the blue pill?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I could be walking around with a tinfoil hat to avoid people reading my thoughts, and walk around with a little blanket so nobody could see me in infrared. But that's not going to help me, pay the bills and operate in day-to-day society.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's definitely it's fun. Like I enjoy watching some of these.
It's a mental exercise. It is, right?
Yeah.
Like when you start deep diving and looking into these, it helps. Not sure the word you'd use. I guess the brain's a muscle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And if you don't use it, you atrophy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like mine's atrophied quite a bit
Yeah.
over the years.
It happens. My liver, I'm sure is not doing any good favors, but
And that's the problem is we've already said a few times on just this podcast, but other ones there, is there's not enough people out there asking why. There's.
I agree with you to a certain point.
Yeah.
I think there is more people doing it now, though.
Oh, really?
Well, your show is a perfect example.
Yeah. Yeah.
This wouldn't have been on 20 years ago.
No.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't have had the technology 20 years ago. I mean, we could have been on our little.
You would, but it'd be really hard, or it'd be out of the grasp of your common people, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, because like for me, I see it. Like a news story comes out. Like let's look at this whole pipeline protest.
Yeah.
Right. You got the pipeline protest, and they're like, oh yeah, all the indigenous out there in BC, they're all against this, and so therefore, even though courts ruled this way, we should go and help out all these people and shut down everything.
Okay, there's an example of where I get my hackles up.
Yeah.
Over the past few days, I started doing some deep diving, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that company employs like almost a third of their workforce is indigenous.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay, well, they're not quite the bad guys this particular group's making them out to be.
No. And
even though they are owned by KKR, and I've been hitting on some KKR things, like with the Bilderberg Group and things, like, we'll get into that later, okay? But outside of that, though, okay, the thing we're concerned about at the time, though, is, okay, well, who is it employing and things like that, or are they being paid a fair wage? Yes, they are. They're making good money, right? And then, but the thing is, though, like, in the media misinformation was, oh, yeah, this is an oil pipeline and stuff, and you look into it, and you're like, well, no, it's a natural gas pipeline, like, so if it breaks or leaks, it vents to atmosphere, it's not going to...
Yeah.
It's not hurting anybody or anything.
No.
Well, minimally. Anyway, from what we know, I'm not a scientist or anything, but like from what I understand and what I've seen in the past, no, it's not going to.
And that's the thing. Like you also look into some of the other stories, and the tribe or band, like I'm not really up on my indigenous politics. The majority of them actually said, yeah, we are in full support of this.
Yeah, like 10
and
of them.
Then there's
they're
just
divided
a couple
into 13 houses, and like 10 of those 13 have said, yeah, we're all for it.
But then there's just a couple that said no, but then the climate activists jump on it as well.
Yeah, is that a land thing, though?
Well, and that's a whole different agenda itself.
Yeah.
But was that a land conflict where, like, the three that... And I'm just asking, because, again, like, I don't know enough about it, but... So there was 13, 10 said yes, 3 said no.
Yeah.
The 3 that said no, did they have more land affected by this pipeline running through?
From what I understand, yes.
Okay, so it was their land that was really up for grabs.
Well, but everybody else had their land. It was going through their land as well. But the thing is, like, they were okay with it, but 3 weren't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want it at all.
But yeah, they basically had a vote, and the vote went through to say, yeah, no, we're all for it.
Yeah.
It's just the 3 that are really upset about it.
Yeah.
But so now we have to get everybody else all upset. No, nobody over there wants it. No. You're not listening.
Exactly.
You need to look into shit. And I think this is where the problem is. Yeah. And now it's causing mass havoc through the whole thing. Railways shut down.
Yep. The economy's grinding to a halt.
Yeah. Like
well, you work for the railways.
Yes.
So is this affecting what?
Absolutely affects everybody on the railways.
Yeah.
And then even more so, all of that product that the railways move, like one railway car takes the place of like a dozen transport trucks.
Yeah.
Right.
Like but there's an exact number. I just don't.
Yeah.
Know the exact number, but the thing is, so all your grains, heating oils, chlorine to clean water, all that's grinding to a halt.
Yeah.
Right.
And as I said, like with the protesters, you know, like you got so many of them now,
Yep.
and it seems like none of them are asking why.
No.
None of them are asking why. They're just like, yeah, let's get on this, you know. And
Yeah,
nobody's asking the questions. And this is where I think
to be fair, though, to the protesters, I think for some of them, the issue goes a bit deeper, though, right?
Yeah.
So this is their way of bringing attention to those issues that...
Yeah.
It's a periphery issue to the pipeline, but the thing is now they're trying to show people other issues, because now I think it's given, like, I don't agree with the methods, but I understand what they're trying to get at, because now it's going to bring attention to housing and native issues and things like that. I just don't like the way they did it, but
No.
they made the choices they made.
Yeah.
And I think what it is that way it brings attention to more than just the pipeline, because now people are going to ask other questions.
Yeah.
See, that's that part I said, if I have to take a look at all the perspectives, right?
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and then that makes great sense right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. It really is.
Yeah.
As I said, I love conspiracy theories. I think they're fantastic.
Well,
They're fun to watch.
where I was talking
You
about
know,
that,
I like staying with the fun stuff. I don't like getting into the fucking
Yeah.
oh shit, this is scary stuff. You know, I try to ignore that shit. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't want to know certain things. I really don't. You know, because you know I just.
But
I just don't.
But just going back really quickly to the three saying no, like you can get upset with them, but at the same time, like if you look at their perspective, like maybe for some reason they really don't want the pipeline going through where they're saying, right? And you know, I look at like recently in London, there was a lady, they were expanding one of the roads, and there was one lady that was unwilling to sell her house to the city.
Yeah,
and they offered her gobs of money.
Yep.
Like God, like I think they said like
more than 10 times more than what
more than double what the
got,
house was worth.
Yeah.
Like just give us your land, we need it for this expansion. And she hunkered down and said no.
Yep.
Like I've been living in this house for fucking 60 years.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. I'm not going anywhere.
Now imagine if you've been living in that house for 600 years.
Yeah.
Right. That's my point. Right. And maybe that land to them is something that they want to protect, and they don't want people on and doing whatever they have to do. I don't know what they do to build pipelines other than run pipe, but the point is that if that land is that important to them, should we be angry that they're fighting for that? I don't know.
Well, it's perspectives again, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Because this issue does directly affect myself and my family.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Right.
Like, there's so many
but I can
pieces.
still see their perspective. Right. 'Cause
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from too. Like I said, just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean I can't try to understand it.
So what were you saying you're going to get into later about this whole
with the
conspiracy
KKR?
here? Yeah.
They're the parent company of I think the company involved that we're talking about with the gas line.
Yeah.
Is it Coastal Gas or something like that? Or
Something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, regardless, it doesn't matter. The parent company is KKR, and if you look into their CEOs and the people that own it, they're big with this Bilderberg Group, and the Bilderberg Group's like another the big boogeyman of the conspiracy world. For the last long time. Like essentially, it's the we're the richest people in the world and the influential people in the world club.
Okay.
And there's been reporters that tried to report on them since I think they came in like 1954 thereabouts.
Yeah.
And they have a yearly meeting where they get together and they call themselves a discussion group.
Right.
But yet they seem to be the kingmakers, because it's like there was a guy that sent me a picture of Stephen Harper, like our former prime minister.
Yeah.
In 2003 in France. All right, and this is an American guy I know. He sent me a picture of Stephen Harper. I didn't even know who the hell Stephen Harper was at the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was just an MP or whatever. He said, take a look at your next prime minister. Like you want to talk about the rabbit hole.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So they
conspiracy fact for you, okay?
Yeah.
So he sent me a picture, shows him like look like some kind of old school rail cart, like where they get into a restaurant all glass and looked like he was having a great time,
Yeah.
And he said, that's your next prime minister. All right?
Wow.
Initially, I kind of put it on the back burner because I'm like, how the hell would you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't possibly know that. Well, sure as shit, 6 months later, guess who's the prime minister?
Right.
Right.
And then, so I was kind of like mildly into the conspiracy stuff until that happened.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, we're going right down this hole.
Holy crap. Yeah. Time to get the hat on here and get the chin strap on and deep dive this crap. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so anyway, going back to those Bilderberg people. So people call them the kingmakers, they're influencers. And the problem is you have a whole bunch of politicians and things that go to this, captains of industry, banking, technology. And then so,
any podcasters by chance? I'm just wondering.
No, because they'd be, you'd be delegitimized right off the bat.
Shit. Okay.
Stick around for
it was worth a shot.
Yeah, stick around for the caviar. But if you walk out of there shooting your mouth off, you'll suicide yourself. Two shots in the back of the head, right?
That's right.
But so anyway, that KKR though, last 6 years, the parent company of that gas company we're talking about, they've showed up on the recorded list. Because there's like protesters that go to that one too, and they're taking pictures, they're getting names, they're letting people know.
Yeah.
And then but since the 50s though, these people denied that they ever existed. Oh, there's no such thing as a Bilderberg group. You guys are crazy conspiracy people.
Right.
Well, the last 6 years or so, they've actually come out public now to say, well, yes, we do exist, and no, we're just a discussion group.
Yeah.
Well, what are you discussing? Oh, well, we have Chatham House rules. We don't discuss what we discuss.
Yeah.
So if all of the hockey friggin' top players got together and all the managers and owners hid themselves in a closed room session, you're trying to tell me people wouldn't be screaming foul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They would.
Oh.
So why aren't we screaming foul with these people? Like some of us are.
Yeah.
But not enough.
None of us want to be Epstein, that's why.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to wind up on the Clinton body count list or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, there's so much talk about the Clinton family, like in what they've done, and
see, I don't 100% buy into the Clinton body count list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I go with that 1% rule, there's still enough there to go, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Like I would never go into business with the Clintons just because of the Like if I was an insurance company, I would never insure. We were talking about that earlier, right? Yeah. Kelly was like, if I was an insurance agent, I would not insure anybody involved with the Clintons.
No.
Right.
I'd lose my shirt.
Yeah, you're going to pay out a lot.
Yeah.
Well, what was that? What's that other fucking? There's that one family that people keep saying basically run the world type thing. I'm trying to think of the fucking
the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
They don't run the world. They just run most of the banks.
Okay. Now, are they part of this Build-A-Bear group or whatever you call it?
They're front and center with those people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy, to think that if you have enough money, you can just.
Well, they want to keep it.
Yeah.
They got a certain position in society. They got power, right?
Yeah.
They got influence. Like they could go to some politician and, hey, George, remember that time we brought you up? We introduced you to there. We helped you get your job. Well, we need a favor.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's the corruption part of it.
So instead of being like the Sicilian mafia, they're the world mafia type thing.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah.
But doesn't that really happen with all the presidents and prime ministers that get elected anyways? They owe the people that finance their...
Yeah, and that's where the corruption...
But if you get up there, you're going to do
that's where the
me some
corruption part
favors.
comes in, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, what was it? Most of the fucking presidents of the United States all part of that Skull and Crossbones fucking group?
I looked into that. There's been a few of them. Like they went to Yale. They were part of some Skull and Bones group, right?
Yeah.
Like they rode around on a goat or something. Right? Like. Okay, you're talking frat party crap, right? Like
giving each other BJs.
But however, though, I don't think like they run the world because they obviously don't.
No,
because otherwise it'd be a very different world and it would suck.
Yeah,
but they do have a lot of influence, though.
Right. Yeah,
like they're ring knockers, whatever. Like they might, hey George, you remember? Can you do me that favor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Bob, you scratch my back next week. Like,
right. Yeah. Well, and you know what? I got no problem with that kind of stuff in a way. You know, that like, look, let's help each other out. I'm doing this thing right now. Like, you guys came on our podcast here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like maybe you're going to do a show on, the conspiracy theory behind Nate and Greg's world. Why is it just the two of them?
Why is it just Nate and Greg? Is Greg
like
his real name?
Yeah.
What's up with Boat Guy?
Yeah. And so you got, shit like that. So we'd be more than happy to come on to like your show.
Yeah.
But. So like I got no problem with that kind of thing. I think that's really cool. But it's, as you said, when it gets into the corruption stuff, that's when you got the problems. So just quickly with the Skull and Crossbones, it made me think of the other thing there, that
Skull and Bones.
The Skull and Bones, yeah. You had that camp that they all go to with the witchcraft and which one I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's not just them.
Yeah, it's a big group of people, and they get drunk, naked, and have like
party up. Yeah,
sacrifices.
Sounds like a
It
blast.
was
Sounds like
it
a
was
great crap
exposed.
party.
Yeah, it was out in California. There, it was exposed beforehand years ago, and then people have written about it before.
Yeah.
It's just it kind of came more into the mainstream, I guess, with Alex Jones.
Right.
But the thing is, he kind of ran in there. Oh, they're doing this and that, and then ran out screaming.
Yeah.
Well, you're not doing anybody any favors of that. If you kind of came out and did the BBC, well, here's what happened.
Yeah.
A little more kind of plain and don't get excited. You know,
stop yelling and
you'll
screaming.
get more people that'll actually listen to you. Yeah. Whereas you're screaming and then trying to shill your boner pills or whatever, then you're not winning any friends, right? Like
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. But anyway, with that, it was what was it? Richard Nixon. I think he said I remember on the Nixon tapes.
Okay.
Actually mentioned that place.
Okay.
And then so he said some disparaging things, right? But basically, I wouldn't go to that goddamn place. Blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where people are like, oh, what is this place?
Yeah.
And you look into it. Yeah. So it's like a Burning Man for rich people.
Wow.
Right.
Or well, we'll get into Burning Man later.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing with that. Yeah.
Fuck, fantastic.
I want to go to that.
Yeah, that's part of that. That rabbit hole part, eh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd love to go to just to check it out,
Looks like
right?
a
But there's a Mad
party.
Max one that's a lot better.
Really?
Yeah, without all the pretentious bullshit, and it's all smashing cars up and stuff. That one, it's like a demolition derby.
That one sounds
that one looks
way more
cool.
down my alley.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right on.
But with the one with those people going to the woods and all that, it's best way I could describe it for your viewers or people that don't want to get too crazy about it. It's like a Burning Man for influential people.
Right.
Right? They go there, knock elbows, talk shop, whatever they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like even though I've been told that they're told not to talk shop or something like that. They got some creepy saying like spiders weaving webs not be here or some weirdo sayings, right? But meanwhile you're like, yeah, bullshit. You're trying to tell me like Henry Kissinger and all his buddies getting together there, they're not talking shop? Bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck.
Yeah, they'll tell you it's a retreat weekend, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah. Wow. No, I just don't know what more to say. Like I just find conspiracies completely fascinating. Mm-hmm. The way you've explained that you go through things. You find that you get that story that's either already pre-primed for you, so that gets you going, or there's a story that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And then that makes you ask questions. But it's all about the asking the questions, and then that's when you go and start doing some research, finding out what's truth, what's not truth.
Yeah.
What's going on, and then trying to get down to the bottom of it. Because like I know right now, like you've been working on this Epstein thing for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think you're close to the end?
Oh, for Epstein?
Yeah. Or do you think, I'll just open up even more?
Oh, geez, yeah. I hope she busts wide open and take no fucking prisoners.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what political party you're part of. If you're part of that guy's little scumbag operation,
for sure.
I can't wait to see the whole shithouse burn down on that one.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But do you think it's going to happen? Like, there's got to be guys in that that aren't going to go down.
Again, that's a $64,000 question.
Like, to me, like, it would be like, okay, let's find 5 of them who were willing to give up.
Yeah.
And we'll hang those 5.
Well, see, I think Epstein was going to flip.
Yeah.
That's why he got off.
Protect himself.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
but no, I mean,
yeah.
now, like, don't you see, like, some of these, like, you can see Clinton and people like that sitting down at the table and saying, listen, let's up 5 guys. Let's get their names up.
Let them take the hit for the team.
Take the hit for the team, because maybe that'll, make the public happy.
I don't think they will, because if you've been looking at the American politics the last 10, 20 years or whatever, they're all crawling all over each other to flip on each other, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the powers that be, if lack of a better word, are going to do that.
Do you think the deaths are done, or do you think more people are going to bite the bullet over this one?
I think other people will be biting the bullet.
Yeah, for sure.
There
has to. Like, what about all these girls? What about when they start coming out?
Well, they have.
No, I know, but do you know what I mean? Like,
I think as long as they keep public and they don't hold anything back and they talk, I think that's what's going to protect them.
Yeah.
Is speaking out.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then it's on public record.
Well, remember the DC madam? Like she was she was a madam there for an escort service.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of powerful clientele.
Yes.
Anyway, but she wanted to get out of it. Okay,
Right.
like she just wanted to retire. Like her mom was sick, so I think she was going to move to Germany there because they had a better health care for her mom or whatever.
Yeah.
So as soon as she said she was going to be pulling out, well, she shows up. They found herself hung, like she hung herself apparently in her mother's garage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that makes sense.
And she had even seen, like, she'd been on other radio shows before to say, look, if anything, like, same thing you did earlier.
Yeah.
If anything happens, like, it's not me that did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even if you look at the statistics of women that hang themselves, it's like really, really, really low.
Yeah,
like
that's
most of
not
them,
the way.
it's pills.
They take pills, yeah, exactly. Like 99% of them, it's pills,
Pills,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so-
they want a clean death.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that she turned up dead, and then a couple other people that talked to her turned up dead, you know what I mean? But the thing is, though, I don't recall which show she was on. But I remember the commentator on the show told her, because she's like, well, I don't want to name names, and I'm not going to, so I'm just putting that out there, kind of thing. He's like, no, name names. That's the only thing that's going to protect you.
Yeah.
Like, you got to speak out. But she wouldn't. And, well, the powers that be weren't going to take that chance, and they offed her.
But don't you think they could have been smarter with Epstein? Like, wasn't he sharing a cell with, like, a murderer?
Yeah.
That was in for life? Like, why wouldn't they just approach that guy and say, listen, do you want a comfortable life in prison?
Who's to say he didn't?
Yeah.
The one to hang him? Because didn't they remove him from the cell before Epstein got hung? Because why wouldn't they just say...
Some of our people think he hung himself. Some of our people, like myself and Troy Kelly, is like, yeah, no way, because when they did the autopsy, there's one of the coroners hired by Epstein's lawyer, who's fairly famous, like I don't remember his name offhand, but he actually said, well, no, the injuries actually indicate strangulation.
Yeah, no, I remember that. But I mean, like, it would have shut a lot of this conspiracy shit down if they said, listen, we want you to shiv him. Mm-hmm. We're going to have it all on camera.
Yep.
You're going to be guilty, but we're going to make... You're here for life
Yeah, you're here for life anyway, yeah.
And we're going to make it really comfortable.
Yeah,
like,
how about a carton of smokes every day for the rest of your life?
Yeah, like, we always make sure there's money in your fucking
the problem is
thing.
it's a holding cell, though.
Right.
It's a transfer. He's not in the big lockup in Colorado.
No, for sure. But this guy could have still done it. I mean, to me, that would have been the easier thing to pass over because, like, what happens?
Yeah, but then
you got to keep him quiet.
Yeah, then all of a sudden he gets shivved. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
right?
yeah, I guess, but
It's never-ending shivving. It's a shiv train.
Yeah,
I still think it would have been a lot less questions.
Yeah.
And you give this guy enough to go on.
Well, for sure, but the thing is, the only reason in sort of like the conspiracy land that we know any of this shit is because nobody's perfect. People fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that one, yeah, like I agree with you. That's probably would have been the smart thing to do.
Easier way.
Well, sure, there could be in a million ways I could have done it, but nobody thought.
Let's do it quick, get it
They're
done.
like, get it done.
Yeah.
We'll deal with the fallout, but you got to shut him the hell up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right quick in a hurry.
Yeah.
Crazy. No, well, you know what, guys? Thanks so much for being on.
Hold on.
Oh, you got more?
I got more.
Oh,
Because I got
we got Nate going down the rabbit hole right now.
I do, because I know we're going to have you on again, but I just want to kind of wrap up on two things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first one, well, I'll tell you the two, and then you tell me which one, okay? Sure. So Greta Thunberg.
Yep.
Okay. And the other one is the coronavirus.
Oh, geez, eh?
Is
Yeah,
with
throw the big guns out there, eh?
Is the coronavirus, do you feel there's anything behind that one, a conspiracy, or is that just they got sick and that's it?
The file's still open on that one for me.
You're doing research into that?
Okay. If you want to get conspiracy-wise, the real conspiracy is just what the People's Republic of China's government has not said. That was the conspiracy thing. But the thing is with that, it's a closed society. It's not, like, as open as they like to portray themselves, they're still a closed communist society.
Right, they don't let shit out anyways.
Well, for them, from what I understand, is it's all about saving face.
Right.
So anything that's going to reflect badly on the Communist Party, they're going to shut that shit down.
But do you look into the conspiracy like it came from Winnipeg? We have that.
No.
Like, do you think that's all just shit,
I
garbage?
think for the most of that's bullshit. People have been sending me stuff to say, oh, well, here's where they experimented with this coronavirus and they added HIV to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, thanks for sending that. That's great. I'll look into it. And then, so I, to took some time, read the whole damn friggin' scientific article, and they were talking about the SARS virus because it is a coronavirus.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of different kinds of coronaviruses.
Yeah.
And the problem is people just see coronavirus.
Yeah. It's that one that just started.
Automatically assume it's this one.
Yeah.
And they don't look any further into it. But when you look further into it, it's pretty straight up. Yeah, they did add HIV because they were trying to figure out how to kill it.
Right.
But that was the SARS virus, and that was like 2007, according to that scientific article.
Right.
So for me, that's where I'm like, well, that shuts that shit down on that aspect of it.
Right.
Now, there's other reports I've seen come across my desk there saying that perhaps it was a bio-warfare thing that went bad. Mm-hmm. You know, but I got to kind of look at it like, are you trying to tell me that the Chinese government's going to fuck up and let that get out? When they're not even telling you how many people are dying over there every day?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I have to kind of look at it like, show me the report, maybe I'll look into it. But if you don't have a report, then it's bullshit.
So is that something you're going to look into, though? Or
it's still ongoing. I'm still looking into everything people send me on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about...
But I'm not finding any concrete evidence. Like, it's everything people are sending me right now is pretty much speculation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Okay. And what about Greta Thunberg right away?
Personal opinion? She's being manipulated.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Like, she's a kid. Like, what the hell does she know? She hasn't even graduated high school. Like, come on.
Yeah.
No, for sure. But
Like,
do you think it was set up from the get-go with her? Like, now it's coming out that this was all like a pre-planned thing?
I think there's an agenda in place,
Yeah.
right? And the sort of your billionaires club and your Bilderberg type people and all that, they're looking for an excuse to, you know, austerity for us in the guise of being green, and more money for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's this whole carbon credits thing, I think, is the biggest scam, like, the last 50 years.
Yeah, they can't fix our healthcare system, our education system, but hey, by the way, give us some more of your tax money there, and we're going to change the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
What? How?
Yeah, how? Why? By taking money
it's those
from me?
fucking weather machines and fucking Meaford and fucking Wainwright.
and everywhere else,
I'm breathing easier ever since.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's just it. Like, it's just a big scam, you know what I mean? Like, what's his name? Buddy that put out the Inconvenient Truth there. Said we'd be all underwater. Al Gore.
Oh, yeah, Al Gore.
Yeah, we're supposed to be all underwater right now. California's not even supposed to be around.
Yeah.
But he did become the first billionaire carbon credit.
Oh, that's right, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, the stock world, that's called a pump and dump. He just did it at a grand scale.
Yeah, because see, like, Kelly's like our Wall Street guru because he did day trading and things like that, so he's got a bit of a better insight than the rest of us on that. So,
Right.
You want to talk about the pump and dump there?
Well, actually, anybody who gets into stock, this isn't, you can call it conspiracy or an inside thing on that.
Insider trading.
Yeah, anytime you see like ads for something, hey, buy the stock, it's awesome. Well, some company has paid this guy to say, well, this stock's awesome. And then they pump it up, right? It goes from like $1 to $1.50.
Yeah.
Right? And then everybody buys it, think, well, this is a hot stock. And then, you know, everyone stops. Well, nobody wants to buy it anymore, so you can't get out of it. So you're stuck as it crashes.
Yeah, right. And the guys that were doing the promoting already pulled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just making sure that when they sold it, that it was at an all-time high.
And the owners...
Yeah.
And that's a conspiracy in itself.
For sure.
Yeah.
They did that... actually, there's one company, Namber Rare Earth, and they did that. Well, I actually shouldn't name it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly,
yeah.
Sue us.
Yeah, I have no money. Okay, so, so I saw these ads for this one mining company, right, when Canada was going to go to Africa and help out, right? And, it's like, oh, Canada's going to go, and, everything went up. And all of a sudden, the stock just, everything...
Crapped out.
It crapped out. It's not even on the market anymore, right? And it's like, you can call it conspiracy, but that's what they do. They pump it, right? Like, put ads, hey, buy the stuff, this is the reason you should buy it. And then, then they quietly, the owners who just pumped up the stock quietly sell off their stuff and they get out, right?
Yeah, and then all the regular Joes like you and I there are going, oh, Jesus, I bought this thing and now I lost my shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pump and dump. Oh yeah, that's the original conspiracy. Actually, I got one more good conspiracy for you.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Talking about stocks, and this goes back to what was that, like 1812 or 13? Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon versus the Iron Duke.
Okay.
The Iron Duke of Wellington.
Yes.
But anyway, and you talk about the Rothschild people. Well, one of their agents, because they're bankers, they actually had people like back in those days when you had a big ass battle. Everybody lining up, shooting muskets and stabbing each other.
Yeah.
People actually used to sit there with a lunch and watch the goddamn battle, if you can believe that.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nice Sunday afternoon
Oh,
after
yeah.
church.
Let's watch 30,000 people kill each other.
Yeah, that's
hey,
right.
right on.
Oh,
You got some
just
more
like going to just like going to the WrestleMania or something, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. So back then you didn't have TV, so that's what you had. Oh, is there a local battle going on? Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
Only a third of the audience.
And then we'll
died.
head back into town, watch the hangings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whip the local pox sores, people.
That's right.
But so anyway, one of the agents reported through their network, like they had a chain of messengers or whatever, so that way messages could get back to England.
Yeah.
So one of the Rothschild agents was there at the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon lost, as the history people will tell you. Well, So anyway, he reported back saying Napoleon lost, the Iron Duke won. Well, back then they still had just as big a stock exchange as we got. Well, not computerized, but it was still a stock exchange. So when he went to go to report it to his boss, I think it was, I can't remember if it was like Nathan or David Rothschild, one of them. He said, "Keep your yaps shut. Just keep that in your back pocket. Got the letter, okay, no problem. And then just let me know whatever else happens. Get lost."
Right.
So agent disappears, keeps his mouth shut because that's what he's paid to do. He went to the stock exchange, told everybody that Napoleon won. So all those companies, like in the Netherlands, and like back then it was textiles and dyes and spices and whatever have you.
Yeah.
So all those stocks went boom, just dropped.
Yeah.
And he bought them all.
He bought them all up. Right?
Oh, fuck.
And then, a couple days later, they find out, no, it's bullshit, because the Iron Duke's marching back here with 10,000 French prisoners.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, he lied to us. Well, there's nothing against the law about him lying to you. You guys freaking panicked and freaking sold everything.
Yeah.
One of the oldest conspiracies on the book, and that's one of the things that family did that put them on the map now.
Wow.
Well, because now it's Lord Baron,
Yeah.
He's a baron.
Fuck, I got to find a way to do something like that. There.
Shit.
You know,
He doesn't, he doesn't
Yeah.
have an ounce of royal blood in him.
No.
But he's got billions of dollars, so they made him a baron.
Yeah.
So now, technically, he is royalty.
Yeah.
Well, the trick is to, watch the stuff, realize what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, they're, ABC stock. They're pumping, just like any conspiracy, right? You look into it, what does this company do? And you just keep, okay, what do they do? How do they do it?
Yeah.
And you just keep going down the layers and realize, oh, this is what is this company's about.
Yeah.
Their office is a box.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Selling out of the car.
Out of Costco.
That's right.
And they have nothing behind the company.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a pump and dump. But if you look at it and they're saying, oh, this could be a good company, you look behind it and like, wait a minute. Like there's ones I've been looking at with mining companies, right?
Oh,
and
geez. Mining companies are a giant conspiracy.
And if you look at okay, you take silver out of the ground, right? And well, look, when you look for different minerals, right? You don't look for silver. You look for like cobalt or whatever, something.
Yeah.
So
3x.
Yeah. Well, you find out these companies, they close mines and then realize, wait a minute, cobalt was actually starting to be worth something. Right. So if you look, just like it was conspiracy, you keep looking down, and you find out, wait a minute, like their byproduct is now worth money. So
Right.
yeah, so you gotta. That's one thing about conspiracy. You learn like how to look and
How to go deep into things.
yeah, and use it
what to
for
look
like
at.
everyday kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they realize you just gotta realize what's going on, right, and then how to be on the good side of it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Right on.
Oh yeah, mining companies, mineral companies, all that. That's an ongoing conspiracy. Those guys, man, that gets ridiculous. Like for instance, you see some country,
Yeah.
not to mention Canada, but where they send peacekeeping troops to a certain country,
Yeah.
right? First thing I did is I'm like, well, why the hell are we sending anybody there?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't give a crap when there was a similar situation here, and here, and here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you find out,
money.
Canadian Mining Corp happens to be right in the middle of the conflict zone, so we got to bring some peace to that so we can drill all the whatever, product is, right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then as soon as that runs out, we're going to pull the troops out, and there's nothing there to have, and the place goes back into chaos again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, gee, surprise.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But meanwhile, like you talk about the government manipulating the media, et cetera, and then who owns those media companies and how many shares do they have in those particular mining companies, and you find out, wow, yeah, they all are connected, and then, but they're like, oh, the horrible situation in country XYZ.
Yeah.
We have to send troops there to help them out.
And then you go further in the conspiracy. Did those countries get involved to get that thing happening there?
Yeah.
That war, that genocide, so
Exactly.
that we can get in there with our troops,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Fuck yeah, you could go down a rabbit hole forever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
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 Wow.
Unbelievable.
So there you go. Real life conspiracies. It's more than Bigfoot and UFOs.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah. Yeah. So some days I'm trying to decide whether to take the red pill or the blue pill. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
you know, and then you use that analogy. I remember in that movie there, so we don't get sued mentioning the movie. But
Yeah.
I think most people watching this understand what movie you're
Yeah.
talking about. You know, with Keanu Reeves,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly, maybe.
But you remember that one? I guess the bad guy of their little rebel group there. Remember, he kind of went back to the government, I guess, analogy.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to get plugged back in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
yeah.
want to. I know
wanna
it's not a
taste steak
steak
again,
and
yeah.
but I want to taste steak again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very. That guy, you know, of course, that guy I want to put him under a steamroller, right? But
Yeah.
you know, but the problem is, once you know it's not steak,
Yeah.
you're never going to be able to go back to thinking it's steak.
No.
Right.
And that's like there's days where I just wanted to walk away from this crap.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, like I've talked to Kel about that. I'm like, fuck man, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's just too crazy. But again, sleep it off, and then I'm like, no, fuck that. People got to know, you know.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of people that are like, hey man, like, what's up with this? So
Yeah.
you know, I'm there. You know, like if you find it's that analogy of somebody ought to do something, well, guess what? If you're saying somebody ought to do something, you're the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure. For sure.
So
Oh,
yeah, and
that's
a lot of these conspiracies, well, the real time, like how the world works, some of the
Yeah.
stuff will just tick you off, like how the banking system works.
Oh, yeah.
If you go down that rabbit hole, it'll just
Holy
get
crap.
angrier and angrier. Like, and it's a good one to start. Like, if people don't, if they're, you know, like, oh, those are a bunch of conspiracy nuts.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the one quote to look into was it was one of the bankers or a politician or something like back in the 30s said if people actually understood how banking works, we'd all be hanging from lampposts the next day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no money in the banking system.
No.
No, it's all
Fractional
extensions.
reserve banking. Look at
Yeah,
that.
it's extensions of credit, and you're like, I'm working my butt off to pay this mortgage.
Yeah.
and it's like no money was changed hands.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that will just that one will get you mad,
Oh yeah.
like really mad.
I'm already mad right now on my taxes, but that's another story.
Yeah,
Like off camera, we were talking about bunkers. Like remember a bunch of weeks
Oh,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
there, And my family and I we visited CFS Carp
Yeah.
in Ottawa there. And the one thing, like I thought it was the coolest thing on the planet, right? I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
cool underground bunker. You know,
Yeah.
this is where I'm coming when I got to fight the mutants in the wasteland. You know,
Yeah.
Lizard people.
yeah. When they decide to drop the bombs on us, we have to fight them in Mad
Yeah.
Max and
Yeah.
everything, right? But one of the offices I seen there, because you know they're preserving it for history.
Yeah.
Well, you know, so you got desks for, you know, here's a minister of the interior, here's a minister of whatever, you know. So you see all these different government functions, which is continuity of government. Everybody, pretty much most people should know about that, right? During a disaster or whatever. There's
sure.
plans in place. But the one thing that pissed me off, I seen 2 seats at a desk, and it was a Canadian mortgage company. So, like, you know, for your mortgage, yeah. So that's what they're worried about. Yeah, I spent 10 years in the apocalypse fighting the mutants and the fucking road monsters.
Yeah.
And
And now you're going
and
to mortgage my little bunk
and then
space.
you're going to come back and say,
That's
well,
right.
thanks for your service fighting the mutants and the communists there, but now you're going to have to pay your mortgage again. I'm like, you
Yeah.
sons of bitches, eh? Like,
Yeah.
I survived the apocalypse, and you're coming after me for my mortgage, eh?
That's
Like,
right. That's right.
Man.
Yeah,
If you'd like to trade up, we got some empty houses for you.
Yeah.
Cost a
exactly.
bit more, but they're nice.
Yeah. Only slightly radioactive, but that's it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So there is a conspiracy right there, you know.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, we're definitely going to make sure that we get you guys back on here. You know, we'll maybe discuss some very specific conspiracies and stuff, and you know, you can get us wrapped around the axles on a few different things, and we be just like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
But no, it's been great having you guys on here. You know, I know you wanted to give a shout out to a couple people.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, if you guys are good with that.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to Ange Finley there, like one of our people there for the
Yeah.
Evil on Scary crew. Marilyn and Chris and Todd, a.k.a. What's it going by? Not Odd Todd anymore, was he?
no.
No, Count Creepy.
Count Creepy.
Yeah, he's one of our
What's up, Count
affiliates.
Creepy?
Yeah, one of our affiliates. Gord, our Irishman there on the conspiracy people. George Friend from Toronto, who runs Conspiracy Cafe.
Right.
And anybody else that's all of our fans, of course, and anybody that's ever sent me an article, I'd like to thank all of you. You guys are great.
Yeah.
And how can people find your website?
Website is evilvonscary.com, just how it sounds. So
Yeah.
EVIL scary SCARY, and then .com.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, guys, thanks again for coming on. As we said, it like conspiracy and conspiracy theorists and stuff like that. They're not necessarily all fucking crazy and needing tinfoil hats and shit. Like, they're just people that are going to actually put in some work and ask those questions. Why?
Oh, I'd like to also thank my wife for putting up with all my bullshit for all these years. Because there's times she's like, "What the fuck are you getting into now?" Right? But then she'll see something on the news that I talked about a year before, and I'm like, "See, I fucking told you."
That's right. Then she's got to put up with
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Oh man. But yeah, thanks again. We can't wait to get you guys back on here again, talk about some more stuff there. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below. What conspiracy theories do you guys know or have questions about? We'll make sure we pass them on. If you've got some information on some shit that maybe you don't want to tell people, find a way to email us or something like that. Send us a message, and we'll make sure we get it passed on if you guys don't go directly to Evil Von Scary. But yeah, we want to know, what do you guys think about conspiracy theories, theorists, and all that good stuff there? Who are some of your favorites? Who do you just not enjoy? Let us know down below in the comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe and like, and follow us on all our other platforms. Thanks again for coming out, and stay safe out there. Your choice whether you take the blue pill or the red pill. Have a good day.
Allegedly.
Later.
Why are you so offended?